past 7 here in Nigeria. So I don't know how good the network is going to be, but I want to try to quickly do a red velvet cake recipe, an authentic red velvet cake recipe on my vlog channel. I have a red velvet cake recipe on my recipe channel. I'll leave the link of how to get that in the description box later today. So, but this one is for my recipe vlog channel. So you can ask your questions in the comment section and let me know. So I'm going to be walking us through all the items I'm going to be using. So I'll drop the measurements of all the items in the description box later today. So first I'm going to be making use of vinegar. This is vinegar. Yes, this is vinegar. So I'm making use of vinegar. Then I'm making use of buttermilk. This is already milk with an addition of see, look at it curdling. That shows that this is buttermilk. Milk with an addition of vinegar. Your liquid milk, an addition of vinegar. I'll leave how to get your own homemade buttermilk just like this. Then I'm making use of sugar, regular granulated white sugar. I just hope it's okay for me this morning. Then all-purpose flour, I'll leave the measurement in the description box later today. Then I'm going to be making use of eggs. Now I weighed this egg without the shell like this. This is how the eggs are. I weighed them without the shell. Then I'm also going to be making use of softened on margarine. I'm using margarine. You can use butter. Butter is not easily available to us here in Nigeria, so I'm using margarine, and I'm using a very good brand. You can use Valido, you can use Taruna, but make sure you're using a very good brand. Make sure it's softened. Then I'm also going to be using cocoa powder. I'm using cocoa powder. This is my cocoa powder. Making use of cocoa powder. Then my food coloring. Now if you are in Nigeria, you must have heard of excellent blend. It's very good for red velvet. I think Akabado also have a red velvet food coloring, but I'm not too sure about that. And I think Mekang too has a red velvet food coloring. I'm not sure about that, but I'm sure of this excellent blend. I'm making use of baking soda. This is baking soda. And I'm also going to be making use of vanilla flavor. You can use any flavor you have. I'm not having red velvet flavor presently, so I'm making use of vanilla flavor. And lastly, I'll be making use of baking. I will leave all the description of all the items I'll be using in the description box of this video later on today. So please ignore all the background noises. It's very early in the morning and it's a Saturday morning. So okay, so these are all the items I'll be using. Then I've also prepared my pan. I'm baking in 2 size 6 round pan. It's going to give more than that, but I prepared 2 size 6 round pan already. So let me run through the items again. I have buttermilk that I already prepared, and I will leave how to make the buttermilk, homemade buttermilk, in the description box later today. I have sugar. I have all-purpose flour that has already been sieved twice, 3 times rather. Then I have my eggs that I measured without the shell, just like this, to give me accurate measurement. Then I'm also using vinegar. This is vinegar inside this. I don't know if you can see it, but that is vinegar. Then I'm using cocoa powder. It has been sieved, and this is unsweetened cocoa powder. I don't use sweetened cocoa powder for this recipe. I use a good brand, so I'm using excellent blend food coloring, red food coloring. Then baking soda, then baking powder. So we have 2 types of red velvet cakes. We have the butter base and the oil base. You can also have a mix of both, that is butter base and oil, and the oil version, a mix of both. But I'm using a butter based recipe, and this is an authentic recipe. It is not a normal vanilla cake colored red that I usually see on social media. It's very different. So let's walk through the process. Let me try to clear my table. So now I'm going to mix it inside this bowl. I'm trying to work with the light. We are in Nigeria, you know that we have issues with light. So I'm going to work with the light. Now into this bowl, I'm going to be using what we call the creaming method. The creaming method of mixing cake is just simply adding your butter or margarine. If you're using butter, please use softened butter, unsalted softened butter. So I'm just going to be adding margarine into my mixing bowl, just like this. And then I'm going to be adding sugar, and I'm going to be whipping this till it is fluffy, about 3 to 5 minutes, till it is fluffy and light. That is what we call the creaming method. Feel free to leave me comments in the comment section why this is live. I will respond to them. Then I'm going to mix it using my hand mixer to mix, and I'm mixing on the not high, just low. So I'm going to whip all this together. So I just added my butter into my bowl, or my margarine. I'm going to be adding my sugar. What's here is sugar. So I'm going to mix it. Network is very bad. So let me know where you're watching my live video from, so that I can leave you a very special shout out in the comment section. Let me know. Just leave me. So when mixing or creaming cakes, always remember to use a spatula. Use a spatula to scrape the side of your bowl, just like so. This way, you're not going to have any batter that is not mixed. So I'm mixing. Now continue mixing. Look at how my butter and my sugar looks like now. So now I'm going to be adding the egg little by little while I'm mixing. I'm adding the egg little by little while I'm mixing. So to those people joining, just Messi, hi, good morning, yeah. Kuya Flori, hi everyone, good morning. So I'm adding in my eggs now gradually while I'm mixing on medium speed, not high, on medium speed. Always remember to scrape the sides of your bowl while you're working. Scrape the side of your bowl while you're creaming. Please try to ignore any background sound. It's a Saturday morning, and you know Saturdays in Nigeria are always very busy period. People are waking up to do chores and all that. So Now I've added all the eggs into this, and I'm going to increase my mixer speed to the highest. I'll increase it to the highest so that I'll whip again for about a minute. Now this is ready. I'm going to keep this aside just like this, and I'm going to do something else. And this is my buttermilk. This is my buttermilk. I'm going to be adding my red velvet food coloring into my buttermilk. Now, I've had people said when they made red velvet cake, it is not always looking red. It's a bit of network issues. Okay, you're not going to get an even color if you add it directly into your batter. So the best way to do it is to add it into your buttermilk. Into your buttermilk. Add it just like the way I'm adding. With this adding of your color into your buttermilk, you can determine if your red velvet is going to be very red or not very red. Look at this. This red is it's okay for me. This shows that my red velvet is going to be very red. So don't add your color into your batter directly. Add it into your buttermilk. Mix it up well together. It's not necessary completely mixed. It should not be completely mixed, but make sure you mix it up well together just like this before you add it into your batter. So now I'm going to bring in my batter now, and then I'm going to add, okay, see my network. My apologies, my network is very, very bad. So I'm going to bring my batter right now, and I'm going to be adding my red velvet food coloring into my like this. Just see what I'm doing. And then after adding my red velvet, my buttermilk into my batter, I'm now going to whip. Now, any whipping you are doing from this point has to be on medium speed. You do not want to hurry the process. If you look at my batter now, you will notice some curdling. This is because of the buttermilk that was added. If your buttermilk is not authentic, that is your buttermilk, homemade buttermilk recipe is not authentic, you won't have such curdling. So this is one way to know that your buttermilk is authentic. Now look at the curdling it has. So the next thing I'm going to do is to start adding my dry item. My bowl is very small. I'm going to change that now to a bigger bowl. Just give me a minute. Okay, so I'm going to be using a bigger bowl, and I'm going to do a transfer there. A clean bigger bowl. Okay. So if you are just joining, just leave me like hi in the comment section. Tell me where you are viewing my live video from, and I will leave you especially in the comment section and also in my subsequent videos. So now it's time for me to add my dry items. So for the dry items, you can decide to either use your spatula like this to fold in, or you can use your hand mix. You can use your hand mix to do the work. So I think I'm going to be using my spatula to fold in my my mixer, rather, to mix it on very low speed. So I forgot, almost forgot. The next thing I'm adding is my vanilla flavor. So I just added my vanilla flavor. If you have any red velvet flavor, you can add. I'm not having. Now I'll be adding my dry items, and I'll be starting with my flour. This is my flour. I already sieved it 3 times. I'm just going to add it here in 3 batches like this because I'm using my mixer. I don't want to over mix, so I'm adding it in 3 batches just like this. I'm adding the second batch. And I'm adding the last batch. Now, if you do not have a stand mixer or hand mixer like this, don't be discouraged. You can use a spatula or a wooden turning stick. It's called turning stick here in Nigeria. You can use it to whip your batter, just follow the process I'm whipping. It's the same thing if you are using your turning stick. Also, I also have a 5 minutes red velvet cake recipe on my cake recipe channel, Sussy's Cakes Recipe. I'll leave that link in the description box. It's a 5 minutes red velvet cake recipe. Under 5 minutes, you mix your batter. But this particular one, I'm using the creaming method. Hi, Jamesi. Hi. Welcome to the live. Welcome to the live. Okay, so for this particular one, I'm using the creaming method. So this is a creaming method butter-based red velvet cake recipe. Yeah, so always remember to use a spatula to scrape the sides of your bowl like so, and also the bottom of your bowl, so that every of your items are mixed completely together. So see, my red velvet cake batter is coming up. It's coming up perfectly. The next thing I'm going to be adding is my cocoa powder. Remember I said I'm using unsweetened cocoa powder, not sweetened. Please use unsweetened. I use a very, very good brand of unsweetened cocoa powder. I thank you. You said it looks good. Thank you very much. So I'm going to pour this cocoa powder into my batter now. I'm also going to be adding my baking powder. I'm adding my baking powder into my batter. Another way of adding your baking powder is to sieve it together with your flour. But because I want to show you the process of adding every item, that's the reason why I have to add it separately. So I just added my baking powder, not baking soda, baking powder, and I'm going to be mixing this. So if you see somebody that is making a regular vanilla cake and adding red color to it and saying it's a red velvet cake, please, that's not red velvet cake. That's a red velvet cake. So and that there's a difference between a red velvet cake and a chocolate cake. One of the difference is what I want to show you now. So this my batter is 80% ready. So I want to show you the difference between a red velvet cake and a chocolate cake. You see these items I'm holding? This is my baking soda and this is my vinegar. In a chocolate cake, you have the addition of baking soda to your batter. Why to a you have the addition of baking soda to your vinegar. You will notice a chemical reaction immediately I add this baking soda now to my vinegar. You will notice that some bubbles are going to reflect like when you pop a soda drink, some bubbles reflect in this cup. That is a chemical reaction that is needed by a red velvet cake to come out very well. So one of the difference between a chocolate cake and a red velvet cake is a separate addition of this baking soda into your vinegar. The second thing is red velvet cake uses less cocoa powder than chocolate cake. So the quantity of chocolate cocoa powder I'm using in that red velvet cake, that is smaller in quantity compared to when you are making a chocolate cake. Chocolate cake use high percentage of cocoa powder. So these are the two major differences between a red velvet cake and a chocolate cake. Now, like I said, a red velvet cake is not a vanilla cake or a sponge cake colored red with addition of milk. No, you can see the process I went through making this. So I'll leave all the measurements of this recipe in the description box later in the day. So you can always check back to watch the video, rewind and watch the video. So now I'm going to be adding my baking soda into look at this. That is exactly what your red velvet needs. So I'm going to now pour this into my batter. I'm going to pour this mix now into my batter, and you can use your spatula to fold it in. But there's light, which is very, very unusual on a Friday. Oh, sorry, today is Friday. I was thinking it was Saturday. Today is Friday. I thought it was Saturday. So there's light, which is very unusual during weekends like this, like from Friday. So that's why let me utilize it and use the light all through. So now our red velvet. So now I'm just, if you are folding in, this is how to fold in. If you are folding your flour mixture, your cocoa powder mixture. So I thought today was Saturday. Oh my god. Friday. Then I'm folding it like this, like fold in. If you're using your flour, if you're adding your flour, you want to use the folding method. Why I use the hand mix to mix, so it makes my work easier and gives me less stress. Now look at it. This is a butter-based red velvet cake. If it is an oil-based red velvet cake, the batter is not going to be as thick as this. It's going to be in a liquid format. It's going to be lighter than this. It's going to be lighter than this. So I have a 5 minutes red velvet cake recipe on my recipe channel. You can check that out. In 5 minutes, your red velvet cake or your red 5 minutes chocolate cake recipe is ready. So and then I'm going to pour this into a prepared pan and I'm going to bake. Let me just give this one last weeks. Okay, Jabez is asking me what time is it over there. It is 7, almost to 8, 7:30 something now, and it's so I already have my prepared pan here, and I have another one here. So when I'm about to bake, I like when my sorry, I had a call coming in. I'm using my phone for the live, so I've been called. She said in the morning or in the afternoon. It's morning, yeah. So I'm just, oops. Let me do that. Here. So with this weighing, your cakes are always leveled. I weigh all my cake batter during baking. Your cakes are always leveled. At this stage, my oven is already preheated. Like your oven should be preheated. It should be on. You should have heated up. Immediately I finish measuring my items, I usually like putting on my oven. So this is 602. Let me take some. So yes, this is 600 gram. Then next thing I'm going to do is to tap the bottom of my pan like this to level it, or you can do this on your work surface. Just hit your pan on your work surface like this. Oh, he said it's 36 minutes after 8 in your side. Okay, that's good. So now this is ready to bake. I'm going to bake this and I'm going to share in a post how this turned out. So this is just how to make your classic authentic butter. To sign up for any of my baking classes, I will also leave details to that. Then I'll leave the details of this recipe in the description box beneath this video later today, so you can go check that out. So I'm going to allow this to bake for about 20 to 25 minutes in my preheated oven, and then I'll share in a post how this turned out. So thank you to everyone for your connection today. Thank